like to introduce our first speaker. Sofia Pistrila is a certified holistic nutritionist and a graduate of the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. She graduated from IHN in 2007. She had 10 years of training in various functional medicine courses and training in other holistic modalities as well, including reflexology, Reiki, NLP, and recall healing. Sofia runs a busy and successful practice in the Toronto area and has clients throughout Canada and internationally in Europe and in Asia. She teaches our Symptomatology Part 2 in our regular program. A bit of about Sofia's background. She has a master's degree in engineering and 18 years of automotive industry debilitating health problems from her work, which resulted in a very high stress environment that ignited her interest in holistic healing. Sofia's willingness to look beyond the conventional paradigm brought her to the Institute of Holistic Nutrition, where a determination to get healthy again became a passion to heal others. Sofia's belief in that power to heal in each individual and the body's innate wisdom must be followed and listened to. Through her customized nutrition and diet and lifestyle plans, therapeutic supplementation, and intervention at the mental, spiritual, and energetic level, Sofia helps her clients to heal from within and blossom to their full potential. She enjoys sharing her own healing journey and clinical knowledge with her clients, students, and the public through one-on-one consultations, seminars, and workshops. Sofia focuses on degenerative conditions, autoimmune diseases, and cancer. And that is one of the main reasons that Sofia teaches Symptomatology Part 2 in our program. Another incredible instructor and beloved faculty member of ours that brings the wisdom from her clinical practice into the classroom. Okay, let's welcome Sofia Pistrila.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, I see myself here. Hello, everybody. Thank you for showing up today, and hopefully we're going to stick with us for the rest of our presentations. It's good to have you here, and good to know that there are people that are interested in their health and how to improve their health, or how to prevent some of the health problems, right? And I wasn't one of those. Or one of them some years ago. Elizabeth told you that I was an engineer before. I had a good run for that. And the unfortunate thing is that at some point in my engineering path career, I was traveling a little bit too much, eating Western food, living in hotels, and very, very high stress, to the point where my nervous system and my whole body started breaking down. And to make it short, I ended up actually not being able to practice anymore, to have a job anymore. I still had a job, but I was on medical leave for a long time. And then I couldn't walk. Literally my brain was not communicating with the rest of my body. So really, really broken down. And just in case you're wondering what was that, what kind of disease was that, was a condition that is called adrenal fatigue. Then we teach in class, in our classes, in our courses actually, and we talk a lot about it because it's one of the conditions that majority of the people that I see in my practice have to some extent, but unfortunately it's not recognized by the medical community as a problem. And to make it short, I ended up at IHN by chance, I guess. I heard from somebody who knows Elizabeth, our director of the school, that, hey, there is a school there, nutrition school, that maybe some of those teachers teaching there, they can help you, regain your health somehow, at least help you to, to function. And I went to talk to Elizabeth, and after talking to her, I told myself, I have to do this. It's not only about health, it's about, I want to know what went wrong and what's wrong with me, kind of thing. And a lot of you maybe are going through some health problems there and thinking, what's wrong with me? Well, I started IHN. It was very hard for me the first half a year, because I was sick. I was really sick. I couldn't even sit there for like 4 hours in class every day. And I had a fantastic teacher in my fundamentals course. I started with that course and I asked him for help. So he just looked at me and he asked me, "Are you on drugs?" And I was like, "No, I've never been on drugs." He meant like street drugs. And he said, "Wow, look at your pupil, it's so dilated." So I said, "Okay, what's wrong with that?" He said, "Well, read this book." And the book is called, actually, I'm looking at it on the other side of my wall there, Adrenal Fatigue, the 21st Century Stress Syndrome by Jay Wilson, a naturopathic doctor from the United States. And I read that book, and every page was like me. Everything was about me. And I felt like, oh, wow, how come that these doctors, all the doctors, about 70 doctors that I've seen, all kind of specialists in Toronto, they had no clue that that's adrenal fatigue. And that was the beginning of my healing. And IHN was part of that, big part of that, actually, the beginning and the end of my healing. And this is one of the reasons why I am teaching at IHN. I just want to give back to something, to an institution that was catalyst in my healing practically. I enjoy teaching. I enjoyed the time of at IHN as a student very much. I learned a lot. And I hope that my students learn a lot from me and for my, not only my 15 to 13 years actually of practice, but also from all the courses and everything that I constantly do. I constantly go to seminars and so on to learn more and to help more people. I do enjoy teaching because this way I do not do just one-to-one consultations, which I enjoy as well. I do reach a lot more people through educating students and educating future specialists in this particular fantastic field. I really believe that it's a great opportunity for other people to, through these seminars or these open houses, to learn a lot more about their health and a lot more about how to prevent health problems. As Elizabeth told you a few minutes ago, I do specialize in autoimmune diseases and all kind of, and there are lots of them, by the way, and there are more and more people, especially women, unfortunately, dealing with those diseases, and also in degenerative diseases, including cancers. So let's go to our presentation. Okay. I hope everybody sees. Melody, just let me know if you don't see the slide.
It looks great.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the importance of liver support in maintaining health and reversing disease. And to be honest, before putting the presentation together, it's not that I wasn't aware, but I did not even never put together in a presentation all the links between the liver and how the liver affects the rest of the body. And literally every cell, and most of the cells of the body and tissues of the body, all the functions of the body are either directly or indirectly, practically, are supported by the liver. So with over 500 metabolic functions, it's still counting, I guess, our liver is the most important organ of for maintaining health and homeostasis, is that balance of the body practically, in reversing many health conditions. When our liver is compromised, it affects every organ and system throughout the entire body. So in this presentation, we're going to talk, I'm going to start actually with major roles of, that the liver has in the function of our body. If you don't understand what the liver does, actually, you will not be able to understand the link with the other diseases that I'm talking about. The warning signs after that about that our liver is not performing well, and that's way before our doctor tells you that, hey, your liver enzymes are elevated, or God forbid you have cirrhosis or cancer of the liver. Correlation between a poor liver function, a plethora of health issues from digestion to cancer. We'll give you also information, about half of the presentation will be practical information about, regarding some simple and effective ways to improve liver function, including diet, supplementation, and lifestyle. Then you can put in practice right away. So hopefully you're gonna do that. To understand the connection between poor liver function and other issues or health issues, we have to understand the roles of the liver that has in our body. And I prepared here, I'm going to go back and forth between two slides here, because one of them is kind of looks pretty and the other one is a little bit more detailed. You see kind of what's happening inside there, right? So that big blob there, it's our liver. At the left side of the screen, it's what's under our right rib cage. It's protected by the rib cage, and then it goes all the way to the left side of the rib cage, right? And that green thing there is the gallbladder. Probably you know that you have something like that, and the gallbladder you see on this one is a little bit better. So what's the gallbladder doing? The bile, liver, it's making what's called bile. I would have seen the next slide. What's in the bile there, and why is it making it? And accumulating in these, channels here, like little ducts that, and it looks like a tree. That's why a lot of times we call it a biliary tree, right? Or biliary tree. And that bile accumulates and goes to the main duct and accumulates actually into the gallbladder. This particular picture actually is something to gallbladder and the liver that has a lot of stones, by the way, those little things. It shouldn't look like that, it should be totally clear. So the bile accumulates in the gallbladder, and whenever we eat fats and the fats reach the duodenum, this part, the first part, the small intestine there, the body gets, specifically the gallbladder gets the signal from the body, like, hey, like you have to squirt, you have to give me some bile in order to break down those fats. And the gallbladder just squirts. It's just like a sac, like muscle, right? It just squirts and sends that bile down this biliary duct to the small intestine, where the bile affects but breaks down, emulsifies, we call it, breaks down the fats. That's the first breakdown of the fats into the body. And here you have the gallbladder, here you have the pancreas in the back here, this yellow blob, and here's your stomach, and this, after the stomach we have the duodenum, the first part of that long 15 feet or more of the small intestine. Okay, so we know a little bit about how that functions. Let's see the roles of the liver. Number one there, digestion role. By the way, we're not going to go obviously through all the 500 roles there, but through some main ones to understand how and why I'm saying that there is a link between the liver or not functioning, a liver not functioning well, and a lot of other health problems. So digestion role through the production of bile. I just told you about that. So in the bile we have some water, bile salts that's created by the liver, then cholesterol that the liver wants to get out, right? So some cholesterol is used for a lot of reasons in the body, from the cell membrane, for us also to make fantastic sexual hormones and other steroid hormones like adrenal hormones, very, very important for life. And also pigment called bilirubin, and that bilirubin is coming from the red blood cells that are broken down by the liver actually, to some extent by other organs. And it's eliminated from the body because it's just garbage practically. It's cleaning, right? Cleaning the body. When the food containing fats reach the duodenum, I said that already, gallbladder is stimulated to release bile, and bile emulsifies fats, so breaks down the fats. Also, the bile encourages peristalsis. So the bile practically, we can call it our natural laxative. And for people who don't have a gallbladder, for instance, so they don't accumulate that bile, or they have a liver problem, they will have actually constipation problems. A metabolic function, also very, very important as the digestive function of the liver, supporting every cell of the body. Because of the blood leaving the digestive system, it passes through the hepatic portal vein and through the liver. Practically, the liver metabolizes all those broken down or partially broken down food that is carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins into what is biologically useful material. So what does it mean? It literally means it's something that the body and our cells of the body and different tissues can use. And for the liver too, to be able to put together some other proteins or enzymes and to send it to the rest of the body. The liver, it's a warehouse for glucose, for excess glucose specifically, right? So this is part of that metabolizing of the carbohydrates. Hepatocytes, which are the cells of the liver, absorb the glucose coming from the digestive tract and store it. Some of it is used by the body immediately, and the rest of it is stored as what we call glycogen, and is stored literally in the liver for the later use. So when do you use that? We use it so the body does not have those spikes or drops in the blood glucose level, right? And the liver is really good in maintaining that homeostasis of that balance if it's working well. So whenever, for instance, we don't eat enough, or we don't eat, or just go fasting, or whatever it happens, so we don't have time to eat, we're away from home and so on, and then the liver makes sure that it breaks down that glycogen, and that is going through the form of glucose in the body, so the body can use, including our brain can use that. With red, very important to understand that too much glucose, including fructose, so a lot of people do not understand that eating too much fruit is not good either. It's going to be transformed actually into, converted by the liver into fats, and they store the fat tissue for long-term storage and use. Unfortunately, that storage can go totally out of control, and a lot of abdominal cavity can be filled with too much fat. It's not only something that we see physically, but it's something inside that we don't see. And also something else that will happen. Eventually, the fatty becomes insulin resistant. And that actually leads at some point to diabetes, and specifically it's type 2 diabetes that I'm talking about here. Processing of the body fats also is a key job for the liver. So fatty acids in the blood passing through the liver again are absorbed by hepatocytes and metabolized to produce energy in the form of ATP. Glycerol, another part of those broken down fats, is a lipid component. It's covered into glucose, and it's used usually by the body. Also, hepatocytes are producing from these fats, are producing cholesterol, phospholipids, and lipoproteins. And you know, maybe don't know the name of lipoprotein, but you don't know the LDL and HDL, those, you know, the bad cholesterol, the good cholesterol, those do have functions in the body. So just lowering them indiscriminately, it's not a good idea. Also cholesterol, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to eat butter, I don't want to eat this and that, like, oh, I have too much cholesterol, I am really, you know, I'm afraid that I'm going to have too much cholesterol. Well, too much cholesterol in the body is made by the liver, and it's made in response to something else that's happening in the body. And it's not just something to indiscriminately just take some pills and just lower them without knowing exactly the cause of that. Also, cholesterol, I told you a few minutes ago that it's necessary for conversion. So from cholesterol, we break it down in a few steps there. And we are making all the sexual hormones, all the adrenal hormones like DHEA, cortisol, absolutely necessary for life. Going to amino acids, so these are broken down proteins. Again, these are going through the liver portal as well, and require some processing before it's used as energy in the body. And there are some, you know, broken down amino groups. It's breaking down ammonia. Ammonia is very toxic to the body, and the liver chops it down, or converts it right away into urea that is eliminated by the kidneys later on. The remaining parts are used for energy or for new glucose, to make new glucose for the body. Okay, so that was the metabolic kind of a part of linked to the digestion as well. Detoxification. I would say that this is probably the most important function of the body, because if this one is not working well, majority of the issues, health issues that are linked with the liver are going to be happening. And I'm going to have a list a little bit later on to talk about those. So all blood from the digestive organs passes the hepatic portal circulation. I said that already. And then hepatocytes from there, the liver, really, hepatocytes are the cells of the liver, remove potentially toxic substances before they can reach the rest of the body. And it's a very, very important, important function. But sometimes the liver is overwhelmed. And today we're going to talk also about, okay, what fast to eat, what fast not to eat, in order to not overwhelm the body, not overwhelm this particular function of detoxification, so the toxins are not accumulated in the tissues and the cells of the body. Enzymes in hepatocytes metabolize these toxins. Some examples: alcohol, drugs, medication, everything coming from environment, everything coming, pesticides, insecticides coming from food, stuff that we put on our skin, stuff that we take from, you know, drink from our water and so on. Liver also metabolizes and removes from circulation hormones produced by the body's own glands. For instance, I'm going to give you an example, estrogen. So in situations for people where the liver does not work well, or something's left of the gallbladder, those biliary ducts are getting clogged with too many stones, there are too much deposit, they end up in estrogen dominance. And this is one of the reasons why estrogen dominance is happening, not only in women, but also in men these days, and unfortunately in children as well. Blood purifying, it's kind of linked to detoxification. Also, it's linked to making how we make bile, or the liver makes bile. There's some other cells that found in the liver, copper cells, that are part actually of the immune system, are breaking down those worn out red blood cells, and they give them to hepatocytes. And the hepatocytes broken down even further. That's where the bilirubin comes, and that is converted into that brown pigment in the intestinal, in the intestines, by the intestinal bacteria. And that's how we have that, dark brownish reddish color of the stool, right? And you know probably already that if we don't have that, if our stool is kind of a yellowish tint there, that means that we don't have enough bile. So either something happening with the liver, either something happening from the liver to the small intestine, gallbladder, or the biliary ducts are clogged. So this is kind of, I'm not going to go through this. This is something that I go through in class with my students in very much detail. This is the first two phases of the three phases of the liver pathway here of the detoxification. We also call the phase 3 would be in what's happening in the gallbladder and the biliary ducts. So you see the toxins are coming from your left side here. They go through phase 1. They go through phase 2, and only after they become water soluble, they can be eliminated either through bile, and I just explained that how it's done through the feces, the stool, or going back into the blood. And the kidneys now they have to filter that blood, and it's eliminated through the urine. And only one thing I want to talk about here, not in detail again, just to visually see how many reactions can take place in one and the second phase here, and how many, these are main nutrients actually and cofactors needed for these phases, or for the liver literally to function, and for these enzymes to function and break down, and so that conversion to take place in order to be able to eliminate it from the body, right? Otherwise they would be stuck there in the body, and some of them in the liver as well. Also, a lot of antioxidants. We're going to talk about foods as antioxidants, what supports the liver, and they're very, very important to protect the liver, first of all, and the rest of the body from those intermediaries that are formed in between those two phases. Another function, very important, is storage, and this is where things are going wrong many times. The liver provides storage in many essential nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. So glucose is stored as glycogen. I already explained that. Also fatty acids from digestive triglycerides, again for later use, but also very important vitamins and minerals, A, D, E, K. All of these are the ones that are the vitamins that are carried by fats, so they cannot be absorbed in the body. Very, very important to understand and to remember that cannot be absorbed if you don't have enough bile, if it's something wrong with your liver and the biliary ducts. And usually a lot of people are low in vitamin D because they don't stay in the sun. That should be the primary way to make vitamin D. But also a lot of our clients are very low in vitamin D, even if after they take for years and very high doses of vitamin D. And sometimes you wonder, like, what's going on? Like, is it not a good supplement? It's rather the supplement is probably okay. There's a lot of good supplements on the market, but the problem is that the person cannot emulsify the fat, so that vitamin D is not absorbed in the body. B12 is also absorbed in the body. It's specifically stored in the liver. So these are stored in the liver. These are the only B vitamin that is stored. The other ones are just you literally urinate them out if they're not absorbed in about an hour or two after you take them as a supplement or from the food. And that's another very important vitamin because a lot of people are low. There's this myth that only vegans and vegetarians will be low in vitamin B12. And I can tell you that I made a little bit of a statistics in my clinic, and I realized that the people who are most deficient B12, they're big guys who are meat eaters. And what's wrong with that? Well, it's something wrong, obviously, with a leaky gut, what we call, right? A gut that is not absorbing those nutrients, but also it's a problem with the liver. It's not depositing or not storing it. Minerals, iron and copper, and this is the reason why we should never ever, you should never ever just supplement yourself without knowing for sure that you're iron deficient, without your doctor or your practitioner, holistic practitioner telling you that you have to take iron. It's very, very dangerous. You're gonna destroy practically the liver, thyroid, and cardiovascular. You're gonna end up with cardiovascular disease. Another one, I think it's the last one. No, it's before the last one that I'm going to talk about. Another function of the liver's production. The liver is responsible for the production of several vital protein components of blood plasma. And those are helping us to clot our blood so they don't bleed to death. Protein being fibrinogen. We make a lot of that fibrinogen when we cut ourselves, for instance, when we're injured, in order to stop the bleeding. Albumin, it's very important too. Albumin is always low in people with severe liver function, in people with degenerative diseases, including cancer. And all the people with cancer usually it's low. And this one it's the protein actually in the liver, made by the liver, actually in the blood, that is maintaining that isotonic environment, we call it. So simply explained, we don't lose our cells or our body tissues do not lose water and do not gain too much water, right? So that has to be a very, very fine balance there. Immunity, very important again, very, very important function. It's part of the immune system through the function of Kupffer cells. I believe I mentioned those already. So those are the cells that are chopping down the red blood cells, but also there are cells that play an important role in capturing, digesting bacteria, fungi, parasites, or not blood cells and cellular debris. So they are cleaning the body, not only cleaning the body practically, but if the bile salts, for instance, if the Kupffer cells are not doing their job, then bacteria growth, fungi, and parasite growth may happen or will happen. Another part of the immunity is the same bile that we talked about. The bile salts are natural preserving agent, reducing bacterial fermentation. So if the bile is not enough, I mentioned that people are going to become constipated, but it's not only that. People may end up with what we call SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, by bacterial fermentation, too much bacteria overgrowth, that it shouldn't be there, or it is there, should be there, but it's like overgrowing over what is normal. Also, candida and parasitic growth will happen without bile salts. So again, big role in immunity. I did not talk about here, and maybe one of you, if it's interested in that, it's going to ask me in the Q&A section or that part of our lecture today. The link between the leaky gut and immunity, obviously, there's a big problem there with immunity. And so again, leaky gut and the liver, because one goes down, feeds the other one, and the other way around. It's very, very interesting how from leaky gut you can get to a bad liver, and also from a bad liver and no bile you can get to a leaky gut. So, okay, so we realized until now, I believe that even from some of the examples that I gave you, not like 500 functions of the liver, but there are enough to understand that really the liver touches everything that happens in our body, and every cell of the body, every tissue of the body, and the function major organs. So some of the main health conditions that are linked to subpar or low liver function are obviously stuff that is diagnosed already as a liver problem, like fatty liver, cirrhosis or cancer of the liver. Actually, but they're high enzymes. So sometimes you usually have a fatty liver and have high enzymes, but sometimes not. So you don't have to get to cancer or cirrhosis to understand, or for your doctor to understand that, hey, it's something wrong with your liver. But there are a lot of other subtle, maybe, or not so subtle indications that a liver is something wrong with the liver and the liver function, or at least some of the liver functions, without your doctor is diagnosing you with the high enzymes there in the blood. And those are all digestive issues. All of them have, to some extent, them linked to liver function. All skin issues, all of them, anything from eczema to acne. A hormonal imbalances of any kind, including PMS, estrogen dominance, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, hormonal cancers, like estrogenic cancers, especially cancer of the endometrium, cancer of the breast, and so on. Respiratory issues, and that's an interesting one, interesting link there. and it's more about it in Western medicine. We don't talk much about it, but it's a big link between a filthy bowel, for instance, and the liver that's not working in respiratory issues. And traditional Chinese medicine is looking very, very deeply, very, very closely into that. And always, whenever you go to an acupuncturist, a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, if you have a respiratory problem, is going to treat your meridian or your liver meridian. High blood pressure and heart disease also linked to liver problems, not always, but many times. All autoimmune diseases or conditions and every type of cancer has there is a link with a subfunctional liver. So how do you know if your liver works well? The other symptoms, not necessarily these. And you want to know it, as I said before, that your liver works well and needs help way before the liver enzymes are elevated, way before maybe you vomit from everything what you eat and you can't, you turn yellow, right? And that's usually when people go to the doctor. So the warning signs that your liver is not performing well before it's seen in any medical testing. So when I talk about medical testing, we're talking specifically enzymes, liver enzymes, LAT, SAT. And what's wrong with those enzymes? Doesn't the liver make enzymes? Yeah, but those enzymes should stay in the liver, should not spill out in the blood. So when somebody's testing you or a medical doctor is testing you in the blood, and they show up there, show elevated, that means that literally the liver is breaking down, the tissue is breaking down. So digestive issues like gas, bloating, nausea, fatty and greasy stools or floating stools, we call them. Light colored stools, I mentioned that before, abdominal pain, constipation or diarrhea, you can go both ways. Hemorrhoids, spider veins, varicose veins, and those usually, you know what, especially women, they take them out, surgery and all that stuff, extracting them in different ways. You should look at your liver because that's the culprit there. Bitter taste in the mouth, halitosis, right? So bad breath, headaches and migraines, the big one there. Continuing to the list, fatigue not elevated by rest, like waking up tired after 8 or 9 hours of sleep. That could be your thyroid too, but many times it's the liver where it starts. Waking up almost every night between 1 and 3 a.m. And this is, again, in traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine too. We're looking at different hours that are corresponding to the function of different organs. And 1 to 3 a.m., it's the liver function, the liver time. High blood pressure and heart disease, skin rashes like eczema, I mentioned all kind of even acne, itchy skin, and that's usually from high bilirubin there, or some eczema. Yellowing of the skin without having hepatitis, that's another one, and that's something wrong with the biliary ducts getting clogged. Dry skin and hair, chemical sensitivity to strong odors. So, for instance, perfumes, right? There are good perfumes and bad perfumes. We all have our own, view on what's good and what's bad. But strong odors usually give people with liver problems a headache, or the nausea. Some even vomit from strong odors. High cholesterol. Sexual dysfunction, so low sexual hormones there, estrogen dominance, PMS, I mentioned endometriosis before, and everything else to do with hormones. Continue the list. It's a long, long list here to take care of or to pay attention to, be aware that it's happening in your body. Mood swings and depression, that's a big one. And a doctor, when you go to, is going to give you the pill, maybe there is an SSRI, antidepressant, without really looking at the causes. And one of the big causes is the liver function, inability to detoxify practically. Accumulation of toxins, massive inflammation in the body. When it's inflammation in the gut and inflammation in the body, inflammation in the liver maybe, but all this inflammation in the body means inflammation in the brain as well. Inability to lose weight or weight loss with loss of appetite. So both ways can go. It's different disease or different conditions actually happening with the liver there. Low immune system, like frequent colds, for instance, you catch everything, but not only you catch everything, but when you're sick or when you have, let's say, surgery, or when you're sick from anything, COVID, let's say, right? Sick from anything, your ability to not only detoxify the body, but the ability of the body to regenerate and get rid of that cold is going to be much, much longer. It takes much longer than usual, much longer than normal. Fibromyalgia, it's another one, a big one. Fibromyalgia, it's recognized in functional medicine. We talk all the time. People with fibromyalgia have huge toxicity of the body. The liver doesn't work well, cannot detoxify the body. Hypothyroidism, especially the autoimmune hypothyroidism like Graves and Hashimoto's, all autoimmune diseases. Need to help your liver also if you have a history of prescription medication. A lot of people have, a lot of, at least majority of our clients that we see do have. Some of them, and I do not, I do not exaggerate when I say that some of them come with 10, 15 different medications, and those all of them do have side effects. The majority of them have a negative effect on the liver. Over-the-counter or illegal drugs also, it's a good idea to detoxify the liver and support the liver. Okay, so maybe some of you, hopefully not, but maybe some of you did recognize yourself that, hey, I have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, all of those symptoms that Sofia talked about. So what do we do now? So today I'm gonna talk about specific food and some lifestyle, and I'm gonna share with you some supplementation as well that you can get into health stores. So number one thing there, worst foods for the liver health. I have to start with this because this is something that we all consume too much. I don't usually, but I found myself during the shutdown to consume a little bit more chocolate than usual and some things that I never consume, right? Some new things introduced in the diet, and I did not feel fantastic after consuming them. So number one is refined sugar, high amount of fructose, leading cause of non-alcoholic fatty liver. And that's a serious condition, by the way. If your doctor told you, oh, a lot of people have it, don't eat fats, it's not coming from fats, it's coming from too many carbohydrates, and specifically sugar or refined carbohydrates, white the pastries and the white pasta and the white what do you call it, flours and stuff like that. Everything what is removed, the majority of the minerals are removed, majority of the nutrients actually was that are removed. And I put here a picture of the sugar, brown sugar, together with the white sugar. Please understand that it's the same. It's at the end of the day, it's still sugar. It's very detrimental to you. Number two, worst foods, processed foods, and the pictures tell you all. And I put here, if you can write it down, if Melody can grab that, businessinsider.com, and you just go there, or just Google businessinsider.com and how hot dogs are made. I saw about 2 days ago, I was a researcher for some clinical studies, and I saw that video and I'm like, oh my God, it's so shocking. I don't eat hot dogs. I never had actually in my life, interesting enough. But if you see that particular video, I can guarantee you that even if you are starving to death, you will not put a hot dog in your mouth again. So again, cold cuts here, the same. Processed foods are foods that are not coming from nature. They are man-made, so to speak, and they're combined in a weird way, sugar and white flour and fat. Nowhere in nature, those three are going to get combined. Number three, trans fatty acids. I believe everybody knows at this point what those are. Look at the labels when you buy some that it's packaged or frozen goods. Altered fats and oxidized fats, damaged oils. So the saturated category would be the margarine. I hope nobody eats that. And I was shocked that last week I had a new client who told me that was told to eat margarine because it has high cholesterol. I cannot tell you how quickly that margarine is gonna spike your cholesterol. That's exactly what happened to this for a lady. Her cholesterol was getting higher and higher because she was told to eat vegetable oils. Another one that you should not put, and it should not be in your kitchen. She should not consume it in anywhere from a shape. So again, partially hydrogenated oils or saturated oils, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, sesame oil. Never ever have it. Maybe you're gonna have it cold. Never ever, heat it. Those are all of these unsaturated fats are really, they're poison when you heat them up, especially if you fry with them. Soybean oil the same. Another worst one, alcohol, and just the picture tells you all. And I was very sad to find out that during the shutdown, the alcoholism went up, and the consumption of alcohol went up. Like, I can't remember exactly how many folds. That's kind of sad. I'm not going to talk much about it, but one of the reasons why you shouldn't have alcohol, it's the alcoholic fatty liver, but it's a way long to get there. Before you get there, you're going to have all kind of other health problems. Alcohol is a poison. And do I drink alcohol? Or else, like some people ask me, or my clients ask me, like, you don't drink alcohol at all? Yeah, I'm maybe going to drink a glass of very good organic wine from time to time, but that's about it. Drinking alcohol every day is not a good idea. Your liver is going to be occupied detoxifying that toxin instead of being occupied to see what the rest of the body is doing. Number 6, conventionally raised animal products, not grass-fed or not organic, at least GMOs, genetically modified organisms, lots of chemicals there, a lot of hormone disruptors. All of those are clogging the liver practically and then making the liver working over time, or really many times actually there's accumulation of them coming the same time, the same day, week, month, or usually, you eat some McDonald's food or whatever food you eat these days. Toxins can accumulate and the liver may not be able to detoxify all of those in time. All non-organic foods, the same reason. Number 8, the last one, GMO foods. If you don't know anything about what a GMO food is, they're sprayed with glyphosate, the Roundup, and there's a whole, another lecture about that. I was just talking to Melody, one of the people in the back here. You don't see her, but she's helping us today. We're talking, when we met the last time, we met at the conference held by a fantastic doctor a researcher from USA, Stephanie Seneff, it's just her name, that talks a lot about GMO foods and about glyphosates and how glyphosates actually are recognized as human carcinogens. Fantastic book to read on that particular, subject is Seeds of Deception by Jeffrey Smith. And just write it down. It's fantastic. It's going to open your mind actually in viewing food in a different way. And just for you to know, GMO crops in Canada are canola. That's another reason why you shouldn't touch that. Corn oil is made from that. Flax, pay attention to that. Where's it coming from? Should be organic if you buy flax seeds. Potatoes, soybeans, squash, sugar beets, and tomatoes. So all of these buy organic, because otherwise they might be GMO. So we talk about the bad thing. What about the good thing? So what do we do and this is something that you should write down, take notes, best foods for the liver. And then we're going to go to some supplements there. Number 1, liver. So yes, and I know that some of my clients, first, when I tell them eat liver because you're anemic or because of that, because you're very sick, because you have an autoimmune disease, many reasons why you should eat liver, and they're totally gross by it. Then eat liver pate, eat organic liver pate, right? So, or make it, chop it up and cook it somehow in the onions and garlic and all that stuff. And it's really, really make it in a way that's palatable to you. And some people, I had clients that I put them, like clients with cancer, for instance, that I put them on raw liver, and that's another story there. You can even, that one, you can mix it up in some, in some shakes and so on, or you can go, if you totally it's not palatable to you even to think about liver, to eat liver powder. Add it. I have a recipe, for instance, of meat, beef. Usually I use organic or grass-fed actually beef it's a sauce that I don't put on pasta. Usually, sometimes I do, rare, gluten-free pasta, but many times I put it over broccoli, for instance, some other greens, and I eat it like that. And at the end, after I finish it, I put a lot of kale in it, and a lot of greens in it, parsley and all of that stuff, like really a lot of greens. But also I put 1 or 2 liver powder, 1 or 2 tablespoons in it. And it's I like the flavor of it. You can put it in smoothies, for instance, and so on. So liver, number 1, it's liver. Liver has all the nutrients necessary for the liver actually to heal the liver, or to give it for support. Number 2, cruciferous vegetables there, the cabbage, the turnip, the cauliflower, the broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all the stuff you know about them. The kohlrabi is there too. That's a little round thing. Leafy greens again, kale, spinach, chards, Even lettuce is here. Buy the dark one. Beets, fantastic. And after that, now I recognize that I didn't put the leaves here. The greens of the beets, actually, they're fantastic. They're actually better than the root for people who are anemic. They contain a lot of iron, but the beets contain a lot of vitamins and minerals. Actually, they contain also folate. That's fantastic for people for the liver and fantastic for people with anemia as well. One of the best things to have it even in as a supplement. There are supplements out there in powder form, so add them like 1 or even 2 tablespoons. Add them to your, to your smoothies and so on. Eggs, and specifically, I put here the way you should cook your eggs, either like soft eggs, boiled eggs, the best, or do not scramble them, because that choline and all the good stuff in that yolk is going to go bad. Actually, it's not going to be so useful for the body. And specifically, see there's a skillet, it's an iron skillet. It's not one of those non-stick pans that you should never use. Number 6, good fats and oils. A fatty fish, and specifically I put here a picture of how the farm salmon looks like. It's the salmon and wild salmon, and even this wild salmon looks to me a little bit pale. Usually it's very dark, kind of a mauvish color almost, very, very dark burgundy, let's say, color. And that's from the astaxanthin. It's a fantastic antioxidant. It's not only good for the liver, but cardiovascular disease, your eyes, and so on. That it's coming from their food. The farmed one does not have much of that. Obviously, that's why it's so pale and has a lot of fat. Saturated ones, the good fats that you should use, the ones that can be used with heat: organic or virgin coconut oil, butter, ghee, tallow. This is coming from fat from cows. Make sure that it's organic grass-fed cows. It's coming from duck fats as well. Again, they should make sure that it's coming from a farm that knows how to feed them, or they're just plucking the grass around them. Unsaturated fats, use them only cold, so really, really pay attention to olives and olive oil. Olive oil, to some extent, you can heat it once, that's about it. Avocado and avocado oil, that's the picture here. Nuts and seed oils, walnuts, flaxseed oil, nuts and seed butter, so no heat applied to those. Number 7, garlic. I think everybody knows, and I hope everybody eats garlic. Some people may react from garlic. Maybe that's another reason to look at your liver. Maybe it's a liver problem too, but garlic is fantastic for stimulating the liver and gallbladder function. Also, citrus fruits contain substance terpenes that increase the production of enzymes needed for the breakdown of specific carcinogens. Berries, any type of berry, is fantastic for the liver as well, also anti-inflammatory. Sorry. A lot of antioxidants that support the liver as well, especially a liver that's not functioning well, especially a liver that is diseased. Green tea, and specifically I put green tea here, the picture, not with a little bag. Buy the quality green tea, buy always organic green tea, otherwise it may have heavy metals. So a little bit of some best natural supplements for you here, because I know that some of the questions are going to be about supplements, what to buy, what to do. Now, before going through some of the slides here, please pay attention. Some of the supplements are, all of them regarding the liver and detoxification, because a lot of them fall into that category, are very, very powerful. So pay attention that sometimes it's not a good thing to medicate yourself or even to use yourself supplements if you don't know how to use them. And in some instances, detoxification may not be, even in a toxic body, may not be the first thing you do. So again, ask a practitioner, a holistic practitioner, into guiding you, a holistic nutritionist, naturopath, homeopath, and so on, into guiding you practically how to use them and when to use them. The dosage, the sequence of events is very important as well, not only dosage and the brand. So can be found in stores in many, many different ways, right? In many different forms. They're alcoholic tinctures, some of them dry extracts, like in capsule form, some of them phyto or gemotherapy. I use a lot of those. I love gemotherapy, and my clients love them too, because those are made from the shoots of the young plants. And my clients like them too, because usually a good GMO therapy tincture, you have to use this one a day, maybe 5 to 10 drops a day, so you don't have to take them 3 times a day. So a lot of clients are very happy about that. Homeopathic remedies, I've used a lot of those as well, and in the form of teas. So do not disconsider the teas. They're cheaper too. Sometimes you don't need much for support of the liver, just some very good detoxification teas or teas that are supporting specific herbs that are supporting the liver. So let's go through some of them. I have my favorites one, and Milkfist is one of them. Maybe I have about 3 favorites that I use a lot in my practice. Silibum marianum is another name for it, or Cardus marianum is the Latin names for it. Detoxification of poisons, anything, environmental, whatever it is, hormones or xenoestrogens, estrogens that mimic, or substances that mimic estrogens, alcohol, medication, drugs, and so on. It's a blood purifier. But also I wrote it with the red because not a lot of herbs have been demonstrated in clinical studies that they have a power to regenerate a damaged liver tissue. So very, very important. Stimulation of the bile production, digestion, and by stimulating the bile and keeping the bile flowing there, it's you can say it's part of the detoxification of the body as well, right? That's a very, very important function of the body, to eliminate that bile or of the liver and gallbladder. Increases glutathione levels in the body. I'm going to talk a little bit about it in one of the last slides there. It's the most important antioxidant the body makes. But a lot of times when we're sick, a lot of times when we're exposed to a lot of toxins, it's not enough, and the body cannot make so much to keep up with what's going on around us and inside us. So we can have to take that or not this or something that brings glutathione levels up. Take it as a form of supplement. Dandelion, the stuff that we spray, we kill on our lawns as well, and hopefully you don't do that. If you have a lawn or if you have a garden, just leave them there and just pluck them, especially if you don't have a sprayed environment, or hopefully you don't spray any chemicals on it. Just eat, even the flowers, the yellow flowers are edible, so just pluck them and put them on top of your salad. Brings a little bit of color there too. But we use the leaves and the root. The root specifically is for the liver function, the gallbladder function, and the bile function, bile flow function. The leaves, many times you can see them and we use them many times together, the leaf extract and the root extract. Many times you see them on the market in the form of teas, as both of them together, root and leaves. The leaves are more for the kidneys, to support the kidney function, and they're diuretic as well. So the root is considered a liver tonic. I usually use it in a tincture form. Stimulates the blood flow, so the bile flow from the liver. Used by practitioners in most liver conditions, especially a lot of herbalists love the root, including fatty liver, estrogen dominance, other hormonal issues, skin issues, eczema, acne, and so on. So most of the stuff that we use, it has some tincture, some part of the dandelion root in the supplement. Can fight liver fibrosis and liver scarring. And this is happening, unfortunately, when somebody has cancer or incipient or whatever, beginning of cancer of the liver, and also cirrhosis. And you can, in some cases, you can, even that can be, by the way, can be reversed. I'm going to talk about another supplement that would do much more there. Great celandine or chelidonium. I love this, and I've used it many times in the form of homeopathic, and I use in a flex. It's a combination with two other homeopathics for detox, and sometimes I do very little, even for kids. It's fantastic. You have to really know how to use this. Helps the liver to eliminate foreign particles and improves sluggish liver, stimulates the production of bile, and helps relieve gallbladder spasms. So you observed already that a lot of these herbs, not all of them practically, that are aiding or supporting the liver are supporting also the bile flow and the bile production, but also to some extent the gallbladder and the bile flow to the biliary ducts. Artichoke, another fantastic one. And pay attention, the supplements, these are made from the leaf and not from the artichoke that we eat. That one has some constituents there as well. It's fantastic food. But Sinara, this artichoke leaf has the ability to protect the liver and help the liver cell regenerate. So it's another one on top of the milk thistle. And by the way, for the milk thistle, I think I forgot to mention that we're using the seeds from the milk thistle, right? Berberines, another one. I use these a lot. There are some brand names that I use a lot, and I love their berberines. I'm going to share with you in the Q&A answer there. In this, berberines are a class, a family of herbs. And some of them that we use most are barberry, golden seal, Oregon grape, and sometimes they use just one or the other one. Golden seal, for instance, is a fantastic antibacterial too. Reduces the density. Berberines reduce the density of the serum cholesterol triglycerides. So we do use them for clients who are, who have high cholesterol, but we use them for many other reasons. Also prevents fatty liver disease. These are, all the berberines are bitters. So probably you've heard about bitters as foods, right? So bitters, when we use dandelion leaves, for instance, I hope you use it in your salads. Just chop it up if you don't like the bitter taste and just spread it into a salad. As little as it is, it's going to help with the liver and the bile flow. So all the bitters are helping both of the liver and the bile flow. Even if you have a fatty liver disease or condition, it's not a disease, it's a condition, you should use, or we use berberines. We use some other things, but berberines first of all. Turmeric root, have it as food as well, not only as a supplement. And I think everybody knows how it looks like. I see more and more for the past few years. It's everywhere. You can find it in a lot of the grocery stores, not only at Big Carrot and some big, natural stores. You can find them now in grocery stores, and you find them organic as well. I'm not sure if it's important if it's organic or not, this particular one, but organic is good. So I buy them every 2 weeks, for instance, the local grocery store on Bloor. Powerful liver protector and liver cell generator. We use it a lot in people, for people with cancers, with degenerative diseases, because it's, you probably know already, it's one of the most fantastic anti-inflammatories. I use it for most of the people with cancer as well. Capable of combating effects of certain carcinogenic substances. You should use it daily, if not daily, every second day. And probably heard about how to make golden milk, we call it. I don't use milk from dairy milk. I use milk like coconut milk, make my own one, or almond milk, but I make my own one in-house. It takes you only like 2 minutes, really, up to 5 minutes to make it. Very easy to make, anybody can do that. And you put turmeric there, you put some ginger there, and a little bit of, organic or unpasteurized honey. If you can have some sweets there, and it's a fantastic drink. The same, by the way, you can make it from beets. I have that more these days than the turmeric latte. I make a beet latte in health stores. You can find beet in the form of powder, the crystals. Actually, it's not a powder, it's crystals. So you can put a tablespoon of that in warm milk, and you can froth it as well if you want to just have a latte with a little bit of honey. Fantastic way to, it's Saturday today, maybe going to do that after our last presentation here. Burdock root, it is probably the most favorite, the favorite one that I use most of the time. I use it sometimes on myself. Right now I'm taking burdock root tincture. We use the root, this is how it looks like. The root is very, very hardy. I use it also in cooking. You have to peel it, you chop it up, and you can put it in soups. I put it in soups, I put it in stews, and it's interesting that when it's cooked, it turns, it's kind of a yellowish, whitish before cooking it, and after you cook it, it has kind of that nice kind of, I don't know, a rosy or mauvish tint that the flowers have after it's cooked. It's powerful antioxidant effect and blood purifier. If you have, or if you know anybody with skin issues, the burdock tincture is the thing that you have to have, right? So really, really, really fantastic and eliminating toxins from the body. Prevents, also reduces the severity of liver damage caused by some medication. And again, don't ever take any of these for supporting the liver with medication at the same time. You have to take them 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 hours, depending what it is, away from the medication, because otherwise it's going to detoxify the medication too fast. It's not going to have any effect on the body. Lowers the risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and actually I use it in my practice also to reverse that fatty liver. And a few more. Garlic, the same garlic, we talked about it as a food. Garlic as a supplement too, stimulates the liver enzymes responsible for detoxification. We can have it as raw or garlic oil, tincture form, or aged black garlic extract. It's good also for some parasites, good for candida or some other funguses, bacterial overgrowth, and so on. I left the last 3 here. These are supplements that please do not use unless you have been given to use or have been instructed how to use by a holistic practitioner, because they can be, if you take them when you don't need them, probably not going to do much. But if you take a lot of them, or when you don't when you don't know when to take them at a different time, when it's not the ideal time, it may have some negative side effects. Alpha lipoic acid can be administered as an IV as well, and that should be done if the liver is very diseased, like in cancer of the liver or cirrhosis of the liver. But also in sometimes it's a very acute poisoning, should be administered in IV. And a lot of practitioners who do IVs, they do alpha lipoic acid as well. I do use it in capsule form, as the picture shows. I do use it for a lot of reverse all form of liver disease, including autoimmune disease, Hep C disease, Hep B should be there too, and Hep C as well. Cirrhosis, and prevents the liver transplant practically. You cannot guarantee, no practitioner can guarantee that that's not going to happen if the liver got to the point where it's totally broken down, totally diseased, and totally not functioning. But in many, many cases, if it caught in time, that can be reversed. Stimulates stem cells to regenerate the liver, converts food into energy in the mitochondria. That's why we use a lot of alpha lipoic acid, especially people who have diabetes, diabetes type 2 and type 1. It protects also from diabetic neuropathy, protects also the brain. I forgot to put there, from getting broken down, partly from inflammation and degeneration because of the diabetes as well. Neutralizes free radicals created by chemotherapy. So again, I do give them to clients that have chemotherapy. You don't do it the same day. So you let the chemotherapy to do its job, and then a few days later, practically you go with alpha lipoic acid, so the chemotherapy doesn't destroy other cells that you want them to be destroyed. Pay attention, is lowering the blood glucose levels. It's more predominant in when the person gets an IV, but also when you give somebody, or you take a high dose of alpha lipoic acid, that is happening. So pay attention if the person is diabetic, has to be under control, has to be under the, the guidance of a practitioner. And acetylcysteine, fantastic, again, one, probably heard about it, precursor of glutathione, powerful antioxidant, helps fight free radicals, oxidative stress and hypertension, helps to increase metabolism. So we use it many times for people who cannot lose weight, or in diabetes, when people put a little bit too much weight, if they are on insulin and so on, or some other medication. So again, sometimes we use it in hypertension as well. It depends what type of hypertension it is. Helps to increase metabolism, also helps with inflammation, blood sugar, and insulin resistance. Protects the liver health and reverses liver damage. So it's another one that reverses liver damage. So many times we're going to use them in combo with alpha lipoic acid and with milk thistle. It also does something for the brain. Not only for the brain, but a lot of the nervous system problems, or the mind altering problems, and because it reduces glutamate. Actually, maybe it's not I should put there, I should have said not reducing glutamate always, it's modulating glutamate. So whenever the body needs more, it's necessary more, it's gonna give that. Whenever the glutamate is too much, like in schizophrenia, a lot of times bipolar disorder, OCDs, symptoms, and so on. and then it's going to reduce the glutamate. Also, we use N-acetylcysteine in addiction. I do work with people who have cocaine addiction, heroin addiction, or some other addictions, medication addictions, and so on. And I do use it as part of the protocol usually. Also can help reduce symptoms of degeneration of the brain, like in Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease, and many times combined with alpha-lipoic acid, actually. And glutathione, that's the most important antioxidant the body has. And that is very, very important to supplement as a, as a liposomal form or IV for people who have cancer, so people who have, people with HIV positive, people with degenerative diseases, people who have been sick for a long time. The body many times does not have the ability to make so much glutathione as necessary. And I have only a few slides. I'm probably going to go about 2 minutes over the 10:45 mark here. And I'm going to want to talk just 2 slides about lifestyle supporting liver health. And yes, there is lifestyle that is detrimental to the liver, and you can support the liver even that way. First of all, avoid heavy drinking and drug use. And what heavy drinking, people ask me, like, what's heavy drinking? I would say for some people, it's going to be 1 drink a day is going to be the limit. For a lot of people, 1 drink a day is too much. So if you already have symptoms and signs that we talked about, all those like 3 slides, they're full of symptoms, you do not drink, because that's not going to help your liver. Do not self-medicate, that's for sure, with medication. A lot of medication, unfortunately, a lot of medication, it's without prescription, and people just, have the symptoms, you have a headache, you have a whatever it is, and then you medicate yourself. A lot of that stuff goes to the liver, so think about that. Seek the help of a holistic practitioner. Reduce toxic load on the liver by choosing to consume only organic foods or as much as possible organic foods. Eat anti-inflammatory diet. By the way, there is a website, I think it's on the next slide, ewg.org. You can find some list of foods that must be organic. They're usually either GMO or heavily sprayed. Buy a water filter for drinking, cooking, showering, and water. Very, very important, all of them. Not only, a lot of people say like, oh, but I drink water from plastic, but from a bottle. Well, that's a plastic. It's a xenoestrogen, exposure there. And the liver has to deal with that as well, right? So don't clog the liver with unnecessary things. In the water also, there are bacteria, parasites, chlorine, fluoride, bromine, heavy metals, hormones, medication that if not filtered out, you will put the liver to deal with that as well, and the rest of the body. Try to live a clean life. What I mean a clean life, reduce as much exposure to pollutants. I just talked about food, right, and water. Also reduce exposure to chemicals in your home, like cooking utensils. Don't use the plastic ones. Pots and pans, what do you use? Don't use ever sticky, non-stick pans, right? Even the ceramic ones. A lot of people say like, yeah, but they say that ceramic ones are really healthy. Well, look at the instructions that are given when you buy them on the box, or it comes actually inside it and says, do not heat up only at low heat. That tells you something about what's coming out of it if you start frying in it, right? Reduce exposure also to cleaning or from cleaning products, laundry detergents, carpet material, and so on. Everything what you put on yourself, right? Personal care products and so on. That's the website, ewg.org. And it's a fantastic, they revamped their website. There's a lot of information there. You can go by rooms in your house, literally, or what it's going to give you a list of the things to look for if you have those toxins in your office or in your bedroom or in your kitchen, your bathroom, and so on. Learn techniques to help to unwind from day's activities. Learn how to go with the flow and let things go when you cannot change them. And that's very important. And I gave you 2 examples here that I think during the shutdown time, a lot of people understood that, wow, I have to do something else or something more than what I'm doing usually to help with stress. Meditate, start daily yoga practice, if not daily, at least a few times a week. I always tell my clients, like, learning before you get into trouble, before it's too late, because when you are nervous or when something happens to you, when a sickness and so on, it's happening, it's very, very hard to start learning how to meditate. check out that course, mindfulness-based stress reduction course. It's covered by OHIP. If you do it through a medical doctor or a psychologist, psychiatrist, maybe there's some around that do that too, and or through a hospital. I've done that many years ago. I send a lot of my clients to those courses. It's a 9-week course, fantastic. It's going to change your life. I promise you that one. And why with anger? I'm talking about anger at some point in the bottom there. Engage in exercise, swimming, walking instead of hard and fast exercise. It's another one, but also anger. Pay attention to anger. Anger management, if you have to. Mindfulness-based stress reduction course is going to help with that too. Meditation is going to help with that. In traditional medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, liver function is linked also to tendon function. So if you are overstretching or impacting the tendons with too much running or too much exercises, especially if you have a certain age where you should not do only hard exercise, that will impact the liver function too. And anger is the emotion that is associated with liver. So if you feel anger all the time, or it's coming out of the blue, look at your liver and manage your liver. And the last thing here, just as a conclusion, I hope this served as information for you. If you have or if you don't have the symptoms that I talked about some minutes ago or an hour ago, please take care of your liver. And first of all, the most important thing is awareness. Be aware of the symptoms that you have. Do not just brush them off that, oh, everybody else has them. Yeah, everybody else may be sick, right? Happy liver, it's a happy body and mind. Important to remember, do not ignore the science. Planful meals, do not just grab things on the go. Resolve your anger issues and learn how to deal with stress. And the red thing there, the last thing, there are steps and procedures that must take place before and in parallel with a liver support. For instance, bowel cleanse is one of them, kidney cleanse way before you do anything with the liver, lymphatic system drainage while and before you do the liver cleanse. Please seek a holistic nutritionist or a holistic other practitioner for helping and guiding you with a personalized protocol for safety and best results. Otherwise, you may get into trouble and may get even sicker than you were before. Thank you so much.